Please.
Thank you. After attending all of the master planning sessions, I have in my notes, I reviewed them, so many of the constituents mentioned an actual desire for more dense housing. Even in Ward 2, which is my ward, constituents actually asked for things like tiny homes, accessory dwelling units. Would these, something like a tiny home or an accessory dwelling unit legislation, would that have impact on what we're talking about here tonight?
Tiny dwellings, I'm not sure. Again, it would depend on the other zoning requirements you imposed on it. Lot size seems to be one of the hardest things to overcome. That's why in the downtown area, even though they're fairly small lots, the size requirement is what's throwing us out of compliance, even when we're doing models. Accessory units are actually identified in the amendments to the definitions section of Chapter 40A. And they have to be 900 square feet or a certain percentage of the building. Let's see if I have that. It has to maintain a separate entrance, either directly from the outside or through an entry hall or corridor shared with the principal dwelling, sufficient to meet the requirements of the state building code for safe egress. It cannot be larger in floor area than half the floor area of the principal dwelling, or 900 square feet, whichever is less. And they have to be subject to any additional restrictions imposed by the city, including size restrictions, owner occupancy requirements, restrictions or prohibitions on short-term rentals. But again, even though you can have accessory units, once you start imposing those other restrictions, then it's not as clear that they'll necessarily be by right. If you keep them by right, they can be counted. But if you impose something that would require someone to get a special permit or a variance, then you've knocked it out of the equation.
I see. Thank you for that explanation. And